I've been wanting to make this channel again. I did something like this a few years ago, ended up just kind of calling it quits and restarting. So basically I want to show one account that I'm working with that I'm investing in, just basically to update it for myself. And then if anybody is interested in kind of seeing where another person's progress is at. So not only do I want to show my investments in that account, but I also want to show some other things that I've kind of invested in and some of the reasons that I want to kind of get out of that investing and just stick with stocks or real estate or ETFs or whatever. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, the first thing that I want to go through is just investing in Lego. So this is something that I've been holding for a long time. As you can see here, just by glancing at the spreadsheet, you can see that some are listed. Some have actually sold as well. I just decided a couple weeks ago to start selling some of the sets I have, so I can kind of show you what I have here, and then I'll go ahead and link my other channel in the description that is kind of going through each of these sets that I have. So I'm documenting on there before I sell the sets. That way I know, like, if I wanted to look back in the future just to see what kind of sets I had, just for the memory, documenting it. Not so much wanting to keep them, because I think if you compare having a Lego set, something physical, not only do you have to keep the space for the set, you also have to put in the time to research the set to see if it's going to do good in retirement. Then you have to list it on something like eBay, and then they take their fee and however you want to do that. So it's not only the space that you have to take, the time researching it and the time listing it, but they don't go up as much value as the stock market does. You don't get paid to hold them like some of the stocks pay dividends. And also it does take time to go ship them. And if you have bad buyers, this and that. So there's a lot of negatives about it. If you do find success in it, obviously that's awesome if you want to do that. But for me, I think just having these sets for a little while, it's not necessarily something I want to do anymore. I wish I just had all this money in stocks already, because I think I would have been doing a little bit better. So these are kind of some of the sets. So just to go through a little bit, some of these that I've sold or at least listed on eBay. And then you can see here, some of these I was able to get for free, and then what the value is, and then if I sold them. So actually on some of these, charity, I am donating that for a tax implication or tax write-off at the end of the year. I'm taking a little bit off the top, but for example, for this set here, I was able to make $65 of profit, which is awesome, and then a little bit of charity. But some of these sets I actually lost a little bit of money. However, a loss is fine, because on my taxes I'll be able to, I think, claim that, or at least claim some of the shipping and kind of help that benefit me, and then the charity of course on top of that as well. So kind of just want to get rid of these. Obviously if I have to lose a little bit of money, that's not ideal. Just a lot of it is going to be eaten up by fees. And then I did decide that I wanted to keep some of these sets that I would regret selling, but that's just kind of a small kind of, look at that. So that's one of the kind of streams of investment, if you want to call it that. But the main thing that I'm working with is just a small account that I restarted. So basically I am maxing out my work 401k, which I believe is an employer match of 5%. So I do that after tax. And then I have another Roth that is already maxed out for the year as well. I just want to look at this one, which is a pretty simple one. And I want to show you kind of what I'm invested in. So if you just look at this briefly, you can see that cost basis is $3,800, market value is $3,850. So you can see we're up a little bit, and then the day gain was just 0.5%. Total return $76, nothing really too interesting. So 4.5% dividend yield, that's pretty high, but you'll be able to see what I'm invested in, and then hopefully it will look a little bit better. 47 cents daily for this account. So I want this account to make me money, but also just to not really have to worry about it too much, since I already have kind of other things maxed out. But I also do want to have a little bit of fun with it. I like to make sure that I'm really invested in what I actually have in the account, if that makes sense. So 47 cents daily, if that could be up to like an hourly wage, that would be awesome. So let's go ahead and go down here. Let's go to positions. So you can see I only have, 6 positions here. And you can see that some of them I'm barely just holding any. So main ones are VOO, JPQ, and then SCHD. Before I had a ton of different things in here. So I had like NVIDIA, Netflix. I just had this huge pie. So when I started investing, I was watching a lot of like Joseph Carlson and kind of emulating what he did. And ultimately, I do agree with getting stocks that you understand. So things like Pepsi, if you are interested, or if you invest in a lot of their products, or things like Nvidia, if you are really interested in AI and so forth. But I was messing with it a little bit too much, I think, and I don't really want to mess with it that much. I am interested in adding new positions, which I'll get to in a second. But my main kind of allocation of the portfolio is going to be just those 3 stocks on the top. So you can see that most of that money is up there in the VOO. And then I have quite a bit in JPQ as well. And then I'm trying to build my SCHD position. The reason for the JPQ and the SCHD is because those are higher dividend payers. I want those to kind of fund just the portfolio if for some reason I wasn't able to contribute for it. For my portfolio, I'm trying to contribute $200 a week, but if I can't do that, I just go down to $50, or if I have any extra money at the end of the month, I will contribute that as well. But I'm not super trying to get this funded as quickly as possible. I want it to just like average out over the year. That way I don't invest in the market at a super high amount. Albeit it's going to bounce up and down regardless. And because I have a lot of kind of dividends coming in, I'm not really too concerned about the actual cost basis of the stock because I am comfortable and still receiving the dividend. So this is actually split into 2 different accounts here. My top 3 here are in my M1 finance. So these are kind of like my safe stocks. And then my fun stocks are actually in a Robinhood account. And this is not including any crypto that I hold as well. And these I just have going at $5 buys every market day. So I just started these. And these are kind of just like my fun stocks. So UNH, because the stock is taking such a tumble with the legal implications that they, I think they committed some type of fraud, or allegedly committed some type of fraud. And then the CEO immediately stepped down directly after that. So I think that's kind of a bad implication. But if it does end up not being true, I think the stock will rebound. I think it is down like 50% or something along like the past like a year or so. So it really took a big tumble, but because of that, we're looking at a really high dividend percent, and I'm pretty sure they just also did a 5% dividend raise as well. So we are looking at a 2.84% here, a little bit higher on cost, but something like that is pretty solid, and I don't think UNH is going anywhere soon. Another one is MPLX. If you don't know anything about MPLX, it's actually a pretty neat stock. So instead of it being, I think, a producer of gas, I believe it's a distributor basically all over like central-ish North America, or United States rather. So this one doesn't have to take on any of the costs of actually drilling the oil, I believe. I believe it's just responsible for distributing the gas and stuff like that in between different locations. So that one looks pretty good. The fundamentals look pretty good if I recall correctly. Again, more of a fun stock, but they do have a super high yield right now, and it is a pretty safe yield from what I could tell. So 8% like that. It is down a little bit, so 7.92%, but we have, you know, $50 or not even a full share of this, and we're expected to get $4 off of that, you know what I mean? So pretty high. And then my last one is the Misty. To me, this seems really risky. A lot of people are using it to pay off the rent, and the company itself said that they're not really concerned about the share price. They just want to make money for the people that are invested in it. So it's not necessarily a stock that you're buying for growth, but I'm just wondering if I invest in that in my Robinhood account, if eventually it gets to a point where that's just paying me out, and then it's getting to a point where it's just funding my other stocks. So that's kind of what I'm interested in. Again, I barely have any in the portfolio, but if we look at it, I have not even a full share, 0.7 of a share. And then if you look at the actual dividend here, I'm getting $28 for not even a full share. So it's just something interesting that I kind of just want to take a look at. So that's kind of my goal. I'm thinking about putting Misty into my M1, putting it as like a percent of the portfolio and just having that invest in the rest of it, just as like another source of income. But we'll see where that goes. Another thing that I'm trying to pay down is my car payment. I want to get that car paid off as soon as I can. I'm on pace to pay it off by next August, and I just got the car in December, so hopefully I'm able to do that. But that's pretty much a kind of general overview of where I am at stock market wise in this account, again not including anything else. So this will kind of just be like my fun account for this channel, something to document. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you have any, any of these companies in your portfolio, let me know how many shares you have, how you've been liking it so far and stuff like that. But I'm going to try to keep this updated minimum once a month, but subscribe and keep up to date with the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.